Dark and Interesting Scooby-Doo theories. The hero in the Scooby-Doo shows has always garnered a shocking amount of mischief, even among the gang. How can he talk? How can the others understand him? What's up with the Scooby snacks? Number 1. Scooby was a lab experiment. Velma can explain. She worked as an intern at a lab that was working on developing a secret weapon. Super intelligent canine warriors. She experienced an attack of consciousness and escaped with one of the subjects, who requires daily doses of the active agent in order to retain his functions. Velma took to baking the ingredient into small cookies. Shaggy, not really understanding, tried one of these in a bout of the munchies, and now he too is dependent on the agent. A side effect of this altercation is that they have developed an incredibly high metabolism and insatiable appetite. Number 2, Scooby pretends to be spooked, but solves the crimes before anyone else. Every so often, Fred or Velma will ask Scooby to act as a sort of bloodhound and get him to pick up the scent of the petty felon in the mask messing with them. The problem is that they tend to be hazy on the fact that Scooby can't turn his sense of smell on or off like a machine. Like any other of his senses, it's on 24/7. That means that the customers can't and don't keep him from knowing who the crook in the suit is. To him, it's just another suit of clothing that the person happens to be wearing. Since people know that he can speak English, he thinks that his ability to identify the malfactor de jure, these French words, I don't know why they have to say them. But anyway, is a source of danger to the teenagers that happens to be in his vicinity. He only fringes a belief in monsters, so that the gang doesn't realize this and put themselves in harm's way, trying to protect him. Scooby Snacks contains depressant drugs. Quick note here. Necessarily aren't drugs which give you a negative outlook on life necessarily. More drugs which calm you down. So in Scooby-Doo, Scooby and Shaggy love to eat Scooby Snacks. They make sacrifices for it, mostly facing their fears, and have huge amounts of energy building up to it. They also sometimes need more than one each. Also, the police haven't cracked down on it because A, Scooby is set in a financial depression, and B, it's not normally for human consumption. I'm saying they've become dependent on them to keep themselves from becoming fidgety and overly energetic, shaking. Okay? Number 4, Scooby is a Soviet space dog. Scooby was bred as a super intelligent test subject for the Soviet space program, but escaped to America with a defecting scientist when he was a puppy. He has a speech impediment because he's smart enough to learn English, but his mouth can't form words perfectly. And the title Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, is a reference to the CIA searching for him. Okay, number 5. Scooby and Shaggy are the only living members of the gang. Their adventures take place in the Ghostbusters universe. After the events of the two movies, the reason that helping solve ghost problems is a viable business is because the Ghostbusters established public knowledge of the threat. A bunch of small-time criminals are now taking advantage of this by faking ghosts to scam property. Velma, Fred, and Daphne are ghosts. Those three died back in the 1960s, which is why they still have the dressing mannerisms of that period. Shaggy and Scooby are alive. They are just high all the time and don't know the difference between ghosts and hallucinations. They don't realize that their friends are ghosts. This is exactly why the three ghosts targeted them as business partners. They need a living person to interface for their business. They appeared to Shaggy during an acid trip. This is why you don't take drugs, people, okay? A team comprised of ghosts and humans working together to hunt ghosts is not much different than Slimer working with the team of Ghostbusters. The goal of Fred, Velma, and Daphne is to hunt down all these alleged ghost sightings in the hope that one of them is actually a ghost. They want to make new friends and recruit new ghosts. But of course, every episode turns out to be a dud. So they gotta head to a new town to try again. Okay. Wow, what fan theories these are. Okay. Number 6. Scooby snacks are genetically altered. It makes sense. Scooby snacks are obviously a genetic mutation device, or possibly a type of steroid, that allows the user to break the laws of physics and their offspring. Let me show you. Scooby-Doo is able to talk. A dog is able to freaking talk. And it's not like Scooby-Doo is the only one. Scrappy-Doo, Scooby-Dum, and other members of the Doo family talk as well. They also do completely ridiculous stunts and do random retarded things. Although the rest of the Doo family is never, in my memory, seen to actually consume these snacks. The genetic mutations could be passed down from generation to generation, and consuming these snacks just furthers the effects. And it makes sense how Shaggy is also able to pull off ridiculous stunts, like eating an entire cafeteria of food and immediately being fat as ever, then just shrinking. He is the only human in the shows and movies that eats Scooby snacks. These snacks were obviously made by were made by man for the purpose of conquering the world. Okay. They were made by man to conquer the world. Training as an army of large dogs. Okay, wait. Oh, training an army of large dogs able to have supernatural powers and just rule the world. Obviously, though, they failed. And the Doo family is a great failure. It also makes sense why everyone who eats the snacks seems very stupid. Shaggy seems to not have a very high IQ. Scrappy tries to beat up everyone around him, even though they are much bigger. Let me at 'em. Scooby-Dum is... Oh, wait. Okay. sorry about this, I lost my place. Scrappy tries to beat up everyone around him, even though they are much bigger. Scooby is a stupid chicken of a dog. Scooby-Dum is, well, retarded. And the few other family members ever seen don't have much brains in them. The snack obviously somehow melts, they melt their brain power while giving them powers. Number 7. Scooby is the only member of the group that doesn't fit the mold of a cult. First, let's look at the gang. Interesting word choice. And the individual members' roles. Fred is a handsome and charismatic leader type. All qualities that fit him, that fit the icon and head of a cult. Also noteworthy is that he seems to enjoy pursuing ghost stories. Daphne never does much in terms of helping solve the mystery. I'm going off the original cartoon from the late 1960s. Whenever Fred comes up with a plan, chances are he pairs Velma with Scooby and Shaggy, while he goes investigating with Daphne. She's clearly his clueless hot groupie, mindlessly following the gang and only serving as Fred's girl. Velma is a bookish type who doesn't fall into the societal standards of beauty, which could mean that she is not very popular with other teens. It seems obvious as to why someone as smart as her would want to follow Fred and Daphne around on wild ghost chases. It'd mean hanging with a pair of attractive teens, thus making her feel accepted. And isn't that what being in a cult is all about for plenty of people? She's also put to good use, since her braininess means she could have a wide knowledge of legendary monsters and can solve mysteries. Okay, more on this later. Shaggy can talk to a dog that certainly shares his personality. Everyone's heard the joke that he can understand Scooby's dog speak because he's always blasted on drugs, but there may be something more sinister to it. As the Venture brothers pointed out, this is similar to the real-life serial killer known as the Son of Sam, who claimed that the canine demons ordered him to carry out his brutal murders. Maybe Shaggy is deranged along those lines, either because of a psychosis or being fed a whole lot of drugs by the gang in the psychedelic tour bus. This is why you don't get on drugs, people. Okay. The gang consists of a bunch of teenagers dressed in more conservative, old-fashioned clothing. Even though this is the late 1960s, when many youth were sporting colorful tie-dyes in rebellion against the old order. Mystery Inc. might be trying to present themselves as better than the others. Though why the heck they colored their van the way that they did is anyone's guess. This is deceitful, as no one would suspect a bunch of homely dressed kids to be cult obsessed with the supernatural. This could also be the explanation for the seemingly gratuitous inclusion of the term incorporated at the end of the service's name. So if they're hell-bent on finding monsters, as I believe, why do they always work so hard to unmask crooks in costumes? It's because they want to make sure it's the genuine article. When they hear of a phantom scouring up a pier. They won't immediately believe it and try to gain power over it. Experience has taught them time and again that they have to take steps, solve mysteries, to ensure that this is a real paranormal creature they're dealing with, and not just some phony. Ultimately, their goal is to find a true monster or supernatural being and gain power over it. The world could only tremble at what comes next in their plot. The show Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, which this theory is based on, lasted only 25 episodes from 1969 to 1971. Though the timing's slightly off, maybe in universe, Mystery Inc. became the equivalent of the Manson family. Okay? Number 8. Scooby was hit by a van and the rest of the gang are hallucinations. Scooby-Doo was hit by a van and was left severely injured. The series takes place in his mind as he wants to find out who hit him in the van, which is why he is in the mystery machine. Usually a standard Scooby-Doo episode starts with the gang driving somewhere and a monster appears, though not usually anyone can see it. This is used to symbolize Scooby's haunting flashbacks to the night he was hit and the monster he is after is the owner. Okay? I might not wrote that down right, but anyway. Each time the monster is revealed as a person in a mask, Scooby knows it wasn't them and continues searching. Okay, the monster who hit him. Scooby has flashbacks of the night he was hit and the monster that hit him. And each time the monster is revealed as a person in a mask, Scooby knows it wasn't them and continues searching. The reason Scooby is constantly looking for food is because in real life, Shaggy is a drugged up hippie who doesn't have time to feed his dog. This explains why Shaggy constantly talks to Scooby. Velma represents the vet who cared for Scooby when he was hit by the van. She is intelligent like the vet and is the main person to provide Scooby with Scooby snacks. She is the one who pieces the mystery together to the gang, possibly by trying to determine why Scooby was hit by the van and starved by Shaggy. Scrappy is rarely given any attention by the gang. Scrappy could be one of Scooby's pups who was left to die when Scooby couldn't provide food for him. Scooby-Dum could be another dog Scooby met at the vet, who also got hit by a car, explaining his idiocy. Fred and Daphne are always working on their own together apart from Scooby. Velma and Shaggy, the characters could represent, they're working apart from Scooby, Velma, and Shaggy. The characters could represent the authorities trying to find out who hit Scooby, as Fred is brave like a policeman, and they are constantly trying to solve the mysteries, but never will find out who did it. The humor in the show is used to take Scooby's mind of the harsh realities of life and the fact he is constantly getting injured in episodes. Shows the domestic abuse he suffered at the hands of Shaggy. Okay. I tell you, these fan theories are wild. Okay. I hope y'all enjoyed. As I said, I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan. I do not like the woke Scooby-Doo that's coming out with Velma. I will not be watching that, but I do like the original Scooby-Doo series. So, hope y'all enjoyed. Bye.